Good evening, welcome to Wednesday's calendar.
Yes, hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Pumping iron as the election bandwagon rolled into Scunthorpe. There are pledges for British-made steel, but businesses are sceptical of any promises.
I think a lot of people feel very failed by politicians and by governments. So, you know, at the end of the day, people will kind of judge by what they see and not what they hear.
Also tonight, 2 neighbours are sentenced for the brutal murder of a vulnerable man in Sheffield.
New banknotes featuring King Charles go on circulation in the region.
They say you could hear the bullets whizzing about, but we were that focused of getting off the beach, we weren't bothered.
And as commemorations begin for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, 98-year-old infantry veteran Ken Cook tells us his story. First tonight to Scunthorpe, where unions say around 2,000 workers at its famous steel plant face redundancies under plans to transition from blast furnaces to electric arc technology. With the election just over a month away, Labour promised to protect jobs by bolstering the steelworks rail production. But some who live in Scunthorpe are sceptical that any government can save jobs and save the town. Our political correspondent Sharon Carer reports.
The stakes for this general election are high in Scunthorpe. Whoever wins the keys to number 10 will themselves be key to this town's survival. Today, Labour's Shadow Transport Secretary promised her party would keep jobs on track by investing in rail production.
The rail industry will fill the books of British Steel for decades to come through securing British Steel in its procurement plans, and that's why we'll protect British Steel here in Scunthorpe.
But 95% of Network Rail's tracks are already produced here. Could they really produce any more?
So they already supply to Network Rail, but HS2 have been buying steel from the French, from the Germans, from the Italians, from the Spanish, from the Turkish. That is completely unacceptable.
In October last year, the Conservative government scrapped the northern leg of HS2, instead promising Network North would be a better deal. The Energy Secretary said only the Conservatives could provide Scunthorpe with security.
If you look at the Labour Party, whether it's their French-style union laws, whether it's what they want to do to the cost of energy in this country, which is enormously important to people in Scunthorpe, then actually the Labour Party are the party who would set our economy back when we've just been turning a corner.
What you can see behind me is called red steel. Now I'm told that as the metal passes through these mills, it reaches temperatures of 900 degrees. It's certain that here in Scunthorpe, steel is a red-hot electoral issue. But despite promises from the big parties, many feel they've heard it all before.
Pumping iron in Scunthorpe's biggest gym, Andy, who works on the steelworks, fears the town's fortunes are already plummeting.
Whoever gets in, I don't think it'll change much at all. I think Scunthorpe is going downhill fast.
Do they ever do anything they say they're going to do? No. So this is why I just don't really care.
It is a chance for change, but it's whether they can stick to the word or they will even try and do what they say they're going to do.
Paul Bend, who's run this gym for 4 years, has already been put through his paces by the increasing costs of running the business. Without the steelworks, he says the future is bleak.
If they're not in employment, they don't have the money to spend on activities such as gym memberships. I think a lot of people feel very failed by politicians.
British Steel says electric arc furnaces are a significant step forward in our journey to net zero and would reduce CO2 emissions by 75%. But unions say the plans put 2,000 jobs at risk. Neither Labour nor the Conservatives have put a number on how many they can save. Voters here who feel they've been let down before want that promise to be ironclad.
Well, Sharon Preet has ditched the hard hat and the high vis and is live for us in Scunthorpe now. Sharon Preet, do people there believe this election will really make a difference?
Well, Ian, I think the main sentiment that we heard in that gym earlier today was cynicism, this real scepticism that any of the parties can reverse the fortunes of this town. Now, the main issue is the Steelworks' 4 blast furnaces, each of them named after a queen of the United Kingdom. Now, 2 of them are up and running and they produce an enormous amount of greenhouse gases. Steel is accountable for 14% of the UK's emissions from manufacturing. But the thing is, if we do switch over here to electric arc furnaces, unions say 2,000 jobs are at risk.
Charanpreet, we heard in your report how Labour and the Tories both say that they would protect those jobs. But what about the other parties?
Well, Lara, the Liberal Democrats say it's unfair that people face the prospect of losing their jobs, and a proper industrial strategy is what's needed. The Green Party say a transition to green energy could be a win-win if enough investment is put in. And Reform UK say that they'd encourage companies to invest in reopening mines to secure jobs in Scunthorpe. In reality, though, this is more than just a political football for people who live here. For them, trust in politics has been severely damaged by what they see as the main parties not coming up with a clear strategy to protect these jobs. Of course, there is still plenty of time before the 4th of July for politicians to get over here, talk to people and try and repair that damage. If they don't, there could certainly be a sense of apathy when it comes to going to the polls on the 4th of July.
It'll be very interesting to see which way the votes do actually go. Thanks very much. Charanpreet live in Scunthorpe.
Yes, and while there's 2 days for candidates to officially declare, these are the candidates so far standing in the Scunthorpe County constituency on July the 4th. There they are in front of you.
Next tonight, 2 women have been sentenced to life in prison for the brutal murder and robbery of their vulnerable neighbour in Sheffield.
Zoe Ryder and Nicola Lethbridge were both told that they must serve at least 26 years after killing Stephen Kuszkowski in his own home in Woodseats in the city. Adam Fowler was at Sheffield Crown Court.
It was August the 9th last year that 60-year-old Stephen Kuszkowski, a man with a learning disability, heart disease and had recently undergone heart surgery, was tortured and murdered in his own home by his neighbours, 36-year-old Zoe Ryder and 45-year-old Nicola Lethbridge. During their drug-fuelled attack, they accused Stephen of being a paedophile, something there was absolutely no evidence for whatsoever. Her Honour Judge Sarah Wright said, "The purpose of your attack was to steal from him and to humiliate, terrify and hurt him. You left him clearly disorientated, injured and bleeding with 22 separate injuries about his face, head and body. You helped yourselves to his property, including the jewellery that was subsequently recovered. I have no doubt that you intended to sell the jewellery to fund the purchase of more drugs." Well, speaking outside court earlier, South Yorkshire Police described the murder as truly callous.
The violent actions of these 2 individuals caused Stephen to later die of serious head injuries whilst in hospital. The community has been a huge support throughout our investigation, and I would like to thank those who showed bravery, taking a stand against criminals and providing evidence in the case.
Lethbridge sobbed as she and Ryder were sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 26 years. Stephen Kuszkowski was described by a former friend and partner as kind and gentle. She said he was a special man, would help anyone and had a heart of gold. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield Crown Court.
Still to come on the programme this evening.
Celebrating fundraisers from around the region. Applications are now open for this year's Pride of Britain Award.
And I wonder if Bella knew that there was a big old shower cloud behind her when she went for walkies this morning. Definitely some sunshine with our showers though today, and I'll have your full forecast for the rest of the week a little later on.
Bit more news from around the region now for you, and the Challenge Cup final at Wembley this weekend will pay tribute to the Rugby League legend Rob Burrow after his death at the age of 41 on Sunday. In a nod to his iconic number 7 jersey that he wore throughout his career at Leeds Rhinos, the game between Warrington Wolves and Wigan Warriors will kick off at 3 minutes past. The crowd will be invited to join and applause after 7 minutes of each of the 4 finals, and there will be a minute's silence. The RFL says it wants to pay homage to a player who has transcended the sport.
There are warnings to make sure batteries are disposed of correctly after a fire at a household waste recycling centre in Dewsbury last week. Kirklees Council says no one was hurt and that the quick action of staff and firefighters meant damage was limited. But people are being asked to take extra care when recycling their electronics.
Now then, we've got used to many changes since the death of the late Queen, haven't we? And today, well, we reached another major milestone, and one that you'll feel the most.
Ah, yes, what have you got down there?
Well, I was hiding them away in case you got your hands on them. Look at this.
Is that my wages for today?
Notes.
Lovely, look at those.
Look at that.
There he is, King Charles, on a £10 note
them?
and a £5 note. Looking very good there. Well, the first banknotes to contain a portrait of King Charles have gone into circulation in our region. And changing the monarch on our currency is something which has never happened before. James Webster can tell us more.
It is a change both subtle and historic. New banknotes featuring a new monarch, and for the chance to get hold of the first one, collector Chris Neild began queuing yesterday lunchtime.
For some people it's like the World Cup, the Olympics, Christmas all in one. For me, I've queued up before for the first polymer notes, like the £5 note, I was the first person, but this is even more significant, and it'll be the first king on a Bank of England note and the first notes to be issued in the world with Charles on.
The late Queen was the first sovereign to have her portrait on banknotes. It makes replacing her image even more significant. The responsibility rests with Chief Cashier Sarah John, whose signature appears on each note.
I think they look really, really good. It's actually been quite a challenge to change what is one portrait to what is quite a different portrait. But actually, I think the overall look and feel is still very recognisable as a Bank of England banknote, and I'm actually really pleased with how the new notes have come out.
Back in April, she and the bank's governor presented the King with the first notes. Now they'll start appearing in our wallets and purses. So, what's it like getting hold of one for the first time? We've been out showing them to people in Doncaster.
Good picture, that. Really good picture.
You get so used to the Queen, it's most odd when it's not the Queen, because she's the icon, isn't she? Always was.
It's obviously a younger picture, is it?
Yeah. Well, they look all right. It's about time we had the King on them, I think.
Great. Yeah, I can't fault them.
Now the new notes have been introduced, they'll circulate alongside those featuring Queen Elizabeth, which remain legal tender. For a limited time, anyone wanting a King Charles note can swap cash by post or in person at the Bank of England. The novelty of finding a new note will pass as we all become more familiar with finding the image of the King on our currency. James Webster, ITV News at the Bank of England.
Are they really?
I was just about to put them away somewhere safe. Yes, they are real.
They are, good. Now, it's that time of year when we ask for your help to send a very deserving person from our region to the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards.
And it's a very special one this year. It's the 25th anniversary of the awards, and here's Amrit Birdie to tell you all you need to know about how you can get involved.
The best of British. It's safe to say the Pride of Britain Awards is firmly cemented in the hearts of the nation. It's the red carpet event where the stars come out to honour ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Each year, one fantastic fundraiser gets to represent our region and attend the awards in London. They're even in with a chance of winning the overall Regional Fundraiser of the Year award. Last year, our regional fundraiser was John Birkill, also known as the Man with the Pram, who has raised over £1 million in his hometown of Sheffield. So if you'd like to nominate someone to be our Regional Fundraiser of the Year, you can head to our website. That's itv.com/Pride of Britain. You can only nominate individuals and they must be aged 18 or over. If you are under the age of 18, please get permission from a parent or guardian before you nominate. The closing date for nomination is Sunday the 11th of August, and full terms and conditions and our privacy notice can be found on our website. You never know, the Pride of Britain red carpet could be waiting for them. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
Yes, and if you remember, it was John who was voted the overall national winner at last year's event. So get nominating again. Make Yorkshire the pride of Britain once again. We can do it, can't we?
Yes, and John, of course, is a regular calendar viewer, so good evening, John, if you're watching.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Kerry.
Hello. Have you been outside today?
I have, briefly.
What did you think?
I thought it was not too bad, actually.
Yeah.
A few spots of rain.
We've done all right for sunshine, certainly compared to yesterday, but that
It's a bit
wind's been
nippy, though.
really cold and it's been quite gusty, gusted 35 miles an hour. So it has felt quite chilly. After last night's chilly night, I did warn you, it was a chilly one. Topcliffe got down to 1.1 Celsius and many of our north and western rural parts of Yorkshire were dipping below 5 Celsius. So that's pretty chilly for June. It's not unusual, it's not unprecedented, but it's pretty chilly. We can have cold Junes. The summer of 75, we had snow on the 2nd of June. And if you remember 2020, when we were all in lockdown and enjoying our gardens, we actually had a really chilly start for the first full week, but it did definitely improve from around the 11th or 12th onwards. So there's some good news. Just because it feels quite cold out there and the air's quite cool or cooler than average, it's okay. We've got a long way to go and everything's all right, I promise. We've had some lovely sunrise and sunset, so I just thought I'd show you some photos. This is Armscliffe Crag. A big thank you to Steve Davey, who shared it on social media. Thank you very much for sharing. This is Scarborough. Big thank you to Mick Raisin and also to Nikki Law, who took this at the weekend at Ravenscar. Now, of course, we've had quite a few poppy pictures because they're in season, and of course we've got the 80th anniversary this week of D-Day. So a big thank you to Sandy Nicholson for this shot. Keep them coming. I'm hoping to show some more as we head into tomorrow. And this was the Featherstone Warhorse. Big thank you to John Victor, who took the shot at Leeds against Mixed Skies. There you go.
Magnificent sculpture, thank you.
Thanks, Kerry.
Well, finally tonight, it was the largest seaborne invasion in history when thousands of British troops flooded the coast of northwest France, and many of them never came home.
Yes, tomorrow marks 80 years since the D-Day landings during the Second World War. But commemorations at home and abroad are already underway.
The Red Arrows made their usual spectacular fly past, this time over Portsmouth. There they go.
And how about this? 280 UK and French paratroopers carried out a parachute descent onto fields on the outskirts of Sannerville. Drop Zone K, as it was known on D-Day.
98-year-old Ken Cook from York is the city's last surviving D-Day veteran. He crossed the English Channel as an infantryman with 7th Battalion, the Green Howards, on the 6th of June in 1944. Now, in his own words, this is his story of that fateful day.
Well, I was called up December 43. We did our basic training and then we travelled around the country to different army camps. When we got to Southampton Harbour, you couldn't see the harbour for ships. We weren't fully told all about what was going to happen. We boarded the ships, we were called up onto the deck and the officer told us about we were going across the channel. And the officer explained to us, he said, when you see those planes with the stripes on, they're ours. Then we settled down in our bunks. And 3:30 in the morning, on the loudspeakers, we had Reveille. We had to get up and go to the mess for our breakfast. And we set off towards the beach. Now we could see the explosions and the battleships firing rockets. People say, what was it like? You can't really explain it all, but I wasn't bothered about the bullets, the shells or whatever. All I was bothered about was my wet socks. I cannot explain that. I tried to, but I can't explain it. You really had to be there to experience it. We've been told to get off the beach as quick as possible. They say you could hear the bullets whizzing about, but we were that focused of getting off the beach, we weren't bothered. You know, we just seemed to, right, we want to be off the beach now, get off. We advanced, I think it was 89 miles on D-Day. Then the following morning, as we were having our breakfast, you're looking down and say, hello, where's Billy? Where's Geordie? You know, where's Harry? Can't see him around, you know. And somebody said, well, can you remember that tank that got blown up on the beach? They were standing next to it and they got killed. And that's when it sank in that all this noise and whatever was really serious. Those bullets coming towards you were real. And that's when, you know, it hit us really hard. I used to get these flashbacks. When you think about it now and again. There were lots of lads, you know, they just got killed on D-Day, and I think I am very, very, very lucky to survive D-Day itself, never mind the rest of it.
And listening to Ken's story, that is exactly why it's so important that we remember what happened.
Yes, we'll have some more incredible stories on calendar tomorrow night as well, and also on the ITV Evening News, which is in Normandy tonight.
Yeah, Kerry has the weather though now.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, some pokey showers across the region today, containing a little bit of hail, heavy if you found one, and also some strong and gusty winds. But we have indeed seen some sunshine. This was Whitby first thing this morning, looking absolutely beautiful, as is Roundhay Park at lunchtime. A big thank you to Paul Goodyear for the shots. But if you were an exposure to that west-northwesterly wind, it did feel a little bit chilly, particularly under the cloudy and more showery conditions. And we stick with that theme as we head through into the evening and overnight period. The winds will become a little bit lighter, but there's still a few showers in the mix. They could well be heavy, but under the clearer, more sheltered spots away from towns and cities, we're looking at lows of around 3 or 4 Celsius overnight tonight. As we head into tomorrow, there are Eastern times, 4:38 and 9:33. For tomorrow, there could be some showers first thing. We are expecting more of a mix as we head through the day of patchy clouds, sunny spells and a few rogue showers. I think many places will actually become dry for a time into the afternoon, early evening, with highs maybe up a notch to 16. That's still just below the average for the time of year. We've still got the west-northwesterly flow, so don't let it catch you out. A UV of 6, and that is a high sunburn risk. As we head through into Friday, we do look to the northwest for this weather front. Ahead of that, I think for the morning, some sunshine, and then it will tend to cloud up perhaps throughout the day and produce some showery outbreaks into the afternoon, early evening. But highs, again, up a notch to 16 or 17. So just about the average at best over the next few days. As we head into the weekend, high pressure is trying to build, so not wall-to-wall dry conditions with sunshine, but mostly dry and bright, breezy, but the winds becoming lighter too throughout the period.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Well, there's definitely some grass pollen out there at the moment now, of course, the first full week of June. Sunrise and sunset is the worst time, and after showers, and it will fluctuate between moderate and high over the next few days. There you go, there's some positives in there.
Yeah, I guess the pollen count's lower, isn't it, because it's a bit colder?
Well, it's not, yeah.
Or is it not?
No, it's kicking off.
Got that wrong.
It's peak season.
OK.
Well, I don't know, I'm coming and going. We are going, in fact. That's all for now. Join us again tomorrow night at 6. Have a good evening.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.